When I started advertising for this channel on my main channel, one of the things that I said I would be doing on this channel is playing different games, doing different commentaries like stories from my life, or just topics that I think would be interesting for a video. And since Christmas is literally a few days from now, I was thinking about some childhood memories and just funny stories from around Christmas and when I was a kid. And then one story in particular popped up that I think would make a really funny video, so here we are. So when we think about Christmas, we normally think about good times and all the fun we had, especially me because I was very fortunate to be raised really close to family and friends, so Christmas has always really brought just really fond memories. However, I sat back and thought, you know what would make a more interesting story? What about my worst Christmas memory? And one thing immediately came to mind. So this story takes place 12 years ago when I was in the 5th grade during the year 2005, and years always work out really nicely for me because, as you can tell, whatever grade I was in is the number of the year. So I started the 5th grade in 2005, the 6th grade in 2006, and so forth. But I was in the 5th grade and my birthday is only a couple of months before Christmas. It's actually in August. So in this particular year, I asked for a PSP. And if you're as old as me, you know that PSPs were pretty revolutionary back then. And most of us were playing with Game Boys as our handheld console. And when the PSP came out, you're talking about graphics that were, they were just like a step below PlayStation 2 graphics. You could watch videos on it, you could play music on it, look at your photos, browse the internet. This thing was really revolutionary for a handheld, especially when you consider this is before the age of smartphones. And if you're young and you're growing up with smartphones, this looks like dinosaur technology to you. This is all like basic stuff. So I asked for it, I got it, and I couldn't put this thing down for a good 2 weeks because it was just so great. It was just such an upgrade from what I was using on Game Boy. So I was playing Need for Speed. I think that was the only game I actually had on there. And yeah, I was just on this thing for a good 2 weeks straight. Now, here's where the shit starts. When I was a kid, I had a temper problem with video games, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you are familiar with that. It's just called rage. You're a kid and you don't know any better, and the money to replace these things aren't actually coming out of your pocket, so you get pissed at a video game and you can kiss that controller goodbye. Well, the problem is this wasn't a controller, this was a PSP. So I believe this probably happened in late September, right? And this is how bad this was, because this is only a few weeks after I actually got it. So one morning I wake up at like 6 o'clock because I wanted to get some game time in before school. And I'm playing Need for Speed and it's dark in my room. And I believe I was doing some sort of drag race level. Yeah, this is like 12 years ago. I don't remember exactly what was going on. I just remember I was in a straightaway race on an airport. So we're racing and racing, and for whatever reason, my car runs into the bottom of an airplane, like the little wheel part, because like I said, we're at an airport, planes are taking off. So I crash into one of the wheels and I come to a dead stop, which means I pretty much lost the race. Again, this is 5th grade me, and that was rage inducing. I actually headbutted this damn PSP as if I didn't know what it was going to do to the screen. So if you owned the PSP back then, you know that, or I believe it was an LCD screen, so those are really delicate. And I headbutted it and it broke right on the spot, like the whole thing cracked. This is so vivid in my memory. You could see the point on the PSP screen where my head actually hit the screen, and you can see the crack like emanating from that point. So immediately I just started panicking because I was like, bro, I just got this damn thing 3 weeks ago. What am I going to do about this? It was literally 3 weeks on the dot, I believe. And I panicked. I started crying. But what I did with it, because I was not about to tell my parents like, hey, you remember that nice PSP you just got me, this revolutionary piece of technology? Yeah, I broke it within 3 weeks. I wasn't about to tell them that. So I stuck it in the top of my closet and I just cried because I was like, bro, I just broke my damn PSP. Now, the problem with not telling them anything was that they didn't know it was broken, so they always assumed I had it. And to make matters worse, I didn't want them to be suspicious, so I would carry the PSP around with me. Sometimes I would fake like I was playing it because I didn't want them to start asking questions like, yo, what a PSP at? So another couple of months go by and now we're at Christmas break. And I can't remember what this piece of technology was called for the life of me, probably because it didn't sell anything, there was no actual use for it. But they were advertising this thing on TV that was basically like a PSP without the gaming function. So it couldn't actually play games, but it could hold videos on it, and I believe it could hold pictures. I'm not sure about the music function, but I definitely remember videos. And of course, back then, having a handheld with videos, that was really a cool thing. So I started asking my parents, I was like, hey, they're advertising this thing on TV, I want this, and I'm trying to show it to them. And I remember telling my mom about it one morning, and she was like, hey, you know your PSP can do this, right? And I was like, oh really? She starts reading down the stats. She's like, yeah, it can hold this many videos and this many pictures and all this stuff. So basically they weren't about to buy me something that I already had. So a couple of more days passed and we're getting closer to Christmas, and luckily at this time I was still in the 5th grade, so I'm still into toys and things like that, and I always really liked trains growing up, so I was into toy trains and I was asking for stuff like that on my Christmas list. I made sure not to ask for anything for my PSP because I did not want them to waste any gifts on something that I knew I couldn't use. And my parents, again, they found that suspicious. They were like, so you don't want any games or anything for your PSP? And I was like, no, I think I'm good. And I remember this quote from my dad specifically. This was like a couple of days before Christmas, and I remember him telling me like, yeah, you're gonna be real surprised on Christmas. Like, I got a real good gift for you, and when you open it, you're gonna be like, Dad, where'd you get this? And I remember that's exactly what he told me. And I had a feeling I knew what it was, because growing up, my parents would never, well, okay, let me rephrase that. My mom would never let me play Grand Theft Auto. My brothers were always playing Grand Theft Auto like Vice City and all of that. And to me, since I couldn't play it, that made me want it more. So as a kid, GTA was like gold for me. And I'm pretty sure for some of you that are listening, if you're old enough, you can remember the days where your parents wouldn't let you play GTA and it just looked like the most fun game in the world, but you couldn't play it because of all that violence and gore and sex and whatnot. So you can share this feeling with me right now. So we get to Christmas morning and bruh, half the presents down there are for my PSP. Oh my god, this memory still hurts. Yeah, half of them are for my PSP. They got me like an entire kit for it, so I'm talking like the travel case, it came with earbuds, something to clean the screen with, it even came with this thing that you folded over on top of the screen so like you could put it in your pocket when you're on the, when you're walking somewhere and you're in the car. They got me a couple of games for it, but specifically the game they got me and what my dad was talking about was Grand Theft Auto Liberty City for PSP, and that was something I had wanted so bad. What made this worse was that it was my first Grand Theft Auto game. I never owned a GTA before that. Do you know how bad it hurt to open that gift and see Grand Theft Auto Liberty City Stories on the cover and know that I could not play it? Finally they got me Grand Theft Auto and I can't play this shit because I broke the system. Now, the thing about this is, I would still rather take the humiliation of just not being able to play GTA than telling my parents I broke my system. So I had to fake a reaction when I opened it, and I had to really act like it was my first GTA game. And I opened it, and I'm like, what? No way. And my dad was like, see, I told you, huh? Oh gosh, but Christmas wasn't completely ruined because like I said, I was a kid, so of course I asked for other toys, and I got some Power Ranger stuff. I got like a train set that I wanted. And what else did I get? I even think I got some Ben 10 stuff. If you guys know the cartoon show Ben 10, I'm pretty sure I was playing with that stuff back then as well. So at least it wasn't the only thing I got. But the pain of not being able to play GTA drove me crazy for months. And I'm talking like, I knew the system was broken, I knew it wasn't coming back, but I would still put in GTA and I would put it into the system just to hear the opening music, because on PSP when you put a game in, you could hear like the little intro music and stuff like that. And yeah, of course I would start the game and I would just hope to God, like, just please let the screen just work. And it wasn't coming back, man. That thing was shattered. I was so stupid at that age that I would sit there and remember I said that you could see the point of impact on the screen. For some reason I thought pressing on that point was gonna like fix the screens. And I probably made it worse like that. So I would sit there and I would like use my thumbs and I would press the screen on that point as hard as I could for, just hoping the screen would pop back on or something. To be honest with you, 12 years later, I don't know what I was trying to accomplish there, but whatever it was, it didn't work. So since I'm about 8 or 10 minutes into this, I don't want this video to be like 20 minutes long. However, this story does have a middle and an end, because my parents actually didn't find out for, let's see, okay, that happened in September and I didn't start middle school until, okay, so about 11 months later they found out the PSP was broken, but I'll save that for another video if you want to see it. I was a good student in school, but sometimes I could be a pretty bad kid, and I tried to cover it up, and I got my friend involved, so there's a whole story. I don't even know if I should tell that story, man. There's a whole story for that, so if you want to see that one, hit the like button, and comment below that you want to hear the story finished, and I'll definitely tell it in a separate video. Also, make sure to leave in the comment section if you have something you want to share. What was your worst Christmas memory? Because I'm pretty sure out of all these years, we all have something that happened that wasn't that pleasant on Christmas. So anyways, anyways, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, comment, and sub, and hit the bell next to my name for notifications on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
I was so close! I literally felt victory slip from my grasp. Or figuratively.